Alright, so this is my game, 8-bit bot, and I am about to do some UI changes. So I want to record the current state and also recapitulate what I currently have. So this is a programming game, so there are instructions like that. So forward, right, forward, left, and go to 0 again. And the bot will execute this. So that's the game, more or less. The game is fairly far into development. I've been working on this since July last year. And the thing is that a lot of these things were, well, not anticipated. So I started out without a grand plan, and now I have to make adaptations. So this programming bar here, which can actually look far more complicated. Like it has up to 8 rows, depends on the configuration. The configuration can be changed here. Like I could, where's it again? There it is. So that is the worst case. I'm not sure if I will ever have puzzles with that many programming lanes. So what happens here is that there's a very tiny blue arrow and a very tiny green arrow up here. That is also something that needs to be changed. But these arrows indicate what the entrance of the bot is. So every bot can have a program that it starts with, and this can be changed. They can also use the same program. To solve this puzzle, it needs to be different programs. So that is why this puzzle defines 2 different ones. Now, the reason why I would like to change this is because this is not so convenient. I've already added an auto preview, so whenever I make an instruction, the bot will execute that right away. With the tiny exception that when the game has, or the level has been solved, so the game is won, that it will not execute the last step, which is also something that just occurred on the way to me. As said, there has never been a grand plan, and some of these changes were only discovered or were deemed necessary during development. So that is how it currently works. Every time I make a further instruction, it will get killed here. I can also do instructions on that bot unless I have no instructions left. Let me just delete that. So yeah, that's the reason why it's more convenient if this window is pinned, because then I can just delete stuff here. And you also saw that the cursor was vanished. So there are also tiny bugs in this, which I don't think I will fix, because the the general way how this works is problematic. I think there are better ways. So this was the thing I came up with when I started working on this, with information about how the instructions work and all kinds of actions that can happen, or pop-ups that can appear depending on the actions chosen. So that is not so great. So that is how it currently looks like. And what I want to change is several things. One thing I've noticed that when playing on a tablet and you are right-handed, that when doing instructions on this side, your hand is covering this area here. Furthermore, this floating panel is also obscuring much of the screen space. Let's say we have only these 4 instructions, like I think it was to it requires, then it still is, yeah, it is somehow in the way. And as much as I like the design, I think it has to go. And so this side here needs to be configurable depending on your handedness. It can be either here or here. I also want to move this bar here into another vertical, pull out thing like this here, maybe. I don't know. I think it makes sense if it's always there. It doesn't make sense to have it not there. There's also this possibility of just dragging things around, and as convenient as it is to have the cursor and creating the instructions here, sometimes just dragging it around is, I think, more convenient. So either on the right or left side there could be the this instruction list. The buttons here were only added quickly because I wanted to have them. They can move instructions up and down and push them out, even out of the program space. These are also confusing as hell. And these buttons are defunct because most of the time it wouldn't work. They exist because if you have a loop, like let's say we delete this here, this should also be differently scrollable. But let's say I have a loop here. I go to instruction 0, which is also not convenient to choose. But in theory, these buttons should become blue because I can then go to the next instance or to the next point in the program where this instruction is being hit. I don't know why it's broken, but it is. So this is another thing to fix or to drop completely. I'm not sure if it's needed. The preview system that currently exists is also not optimal. I mean, when I'm on this instruction, it executes the program until it hits this one, but there's no chance to reach this one because this is an infinite loop. It will never be reaching this one. And maybe it is okay, but I don't know. It's especially painful when I'm making a function call, which is another set of issues here. You see that it executes until this point here, and then this bot crashes, and then the execution stops. Because most likely this is not supposed to happen. Nevertheless, maybe I want to program this first. Maybe this is something I want to prevent. Then why can't the execution continue till here? So there are decision problems about this. Like I could have a return instruction here. No, that's not the return instruction. Another problem is that these icons don't really speak to me. Yeah, I really have to delete that instruction to move forward here. Yeah, that's also something to take a look at. But that is another corner of the program. I think the general UX needs to be changed first. So again, moving these actions on a sidebar here, making them all kinds of smaller. I think the vertical space is always going to be enough. I can change to this resolution here, which is a smaller resolution, and it is for the Steam Deck, the resolution. So everything important needs to be fit into this narrow space here. And that is another problem, I would say. Oopsie. Because the Steam has controllers, and so optimally the user interface is controllable via controller. Now the sandbox is a completely different beast, but just playing the game in the default version here, I think it should be workable on the Steam Deck. So one suggestion here made by a friend was to have the control bar on the right side, like that. Imagine this to be a bar. And then on the left side, there would be the program. So that would also be convenient to control if you use your right hand on this side here and the left hand here, if ever needed, because a lot of levels can be solved by just inserting a program, an instruction here, and seeing the cursor move to the next one. And with the right-left split, it would make sense to have then the right control stick and left control stick controlling the individual parts, and using the A and B buttons to trigger the actions. So lots of things to consider. And yeah, I just wanted to make this recording. It's the first day in the new year that I'm going to start working on this again after a pause over Christmas and New Year's Eve. So that's pretty much it. Let's see what the next days are bringing. The code itself is quite convoluted. Again, I did not anticipate working on this for longer than a few weeks, let alone half a year. So this is not gonna be easy, I think, but it needs to be done. So that's it. I hope you have a good start into the new year, and maybe see you around. Bye.